I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for making it to the first show, and we are really appreciate all the hard work that we have put in and all the chats that we've been going through with David and everyone. We are like really excited to have you here, and
Thank you.
yes, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. So why don't we start with you telling all the viewers like how have your life been, an introduction about yourself, and what made you through all these streams in teaching and everything.
Okay, well, my name is Nella Simoni. I am an educator, counselor, author, human. I've been an educator. I've been an educator about 10 years. I actually started off as an instructional aide, university level teaching, being an instructional aide for sociology and psychology students. And after that, I was a substitute for about 4 years until I had my own classroom teaching middle school and high school level students. Yeah, I've taught every grade level, every age, but I specialize English, history, and psychology. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
which one is the one that you like the most when you are teaching?
Oh, that's tough. I love all three and sociology, but if I were to choose, I would probably literature. I would stick with just literature. I love all levels of, because I'm a reader. I'm a huge reader. I come from a huge line of readers and storytellers,
Right.
and yeah, so probably literature. But
You
what?
like
Yeah.
which age group? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask you which grade age group do you like? Because I love all age groups, but there's one group I wonder if you are on the same level as me. Which age group do you like to teach the most?
Yes, that is like 10 to 14. I think that is
10
the
to
age
14,
where
yeah.
basically the students.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
I think before 10, I think they need their parents more than they need teachers. And
Yeah.
before,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't judge, but third graders, so 8, 9 year olds, and 10th graders, so about 14 years of age. I feel like, yeah, so I believe with third graders, they're not babies anymore and they haven't hit puberty yet, so they're at that sweet age. Yeah, and with 10th graders, they're not juniors and seniors yet, so senioritis hasn't hit them. So they're very motivated and they'll listen to you and they'd want to do everything, and they're not ninth graders where they're just trying to figure things out. So
we're going to talk about bullying in schools and what teachers can actually do in elementary and middle school and how it can be minimized.
as teachers, yeah, so again, we're not their parents, but we are their mentors and their role models. And one of the best tools that we can use is listening. They do want someone to listen to them, whether it's someone who is demonstrating aggressive behavior or someone who is being victimized in bullying. So they just want someone to listen to them. Today, if students who are being bullied, they speak up, they're also punished. And I don't agree with that. When I was a substitute, try to talk with them, try to listen to them. I remember this one classroom I had. There was this student, I believe it was 7th grade. This one student who kept, he was the instigator in this entire craziness that was happening. And what he would do is he would, when no one was looking, he would throw objects at this one student, and the student would become upset and start screaming. So he had done this before, and obviously the teacher would send that student to the office, even though he'd say he threw something at me. He's like, well, your behavior is unacceptable. You can't. So the student, his confidence was, was reduced. He didn't have any okay, what's the whole point of me speaking up when I'm trying to, stand up for myself? So when I had that classroom, I remember that student did it again. He kept bullying that student, and I just, from my peripheral, just watched it the entire time. And when that student screamed, I said to the bully, I'm like, I watched you the entire time. You need to go to the office. And he was like, what? No, he screamed. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have thrown something at him. I was watching you the entire time. He's like, but I'm like, he was just defending himself. If you don't want him to act that way, don't push his buttons. And so everyone was like, whoa, what's going on? So I sent him to the office, and right before they went to their recess, that student came up to me. He's like, thank you so much, for doing that. I try to stand up for myself. But I end up getting in trouble for it. And I feel like that's something that as teachers, that's what we have to do. We have to, help these, I don't want to say victims, but we want to say help these students stand up for themselves, speak up, whatever it is that's bothering. And if there is intense bullying, we have to step in and be mandated reporters. What I do is, and I'm fortunate enough to have amazing parents. Before the semester begins, I'll send them an email out or let them know that if there's any problems, I will tell you about it. And it's your responsibility to work with me, because again, I'm not my students' parent. I'm there to be a mentor. I'm there to, help them. But I would tell the parents. So if there's any form of like aggressive behavior or whatever it may be, I email the parents and I'll tell them this is what we have to do. I can only do so much, like sending them to the office or whatever it is. But you'd have to get the parents involved. Because once they leave that classroom, they're outside, back home in their own environment, and we don't really know what goes on there. So working with the parents is a huge part of this process. And like I said, again, we don't know what's going on at home. Yeah, but the most, again, we can do is listen. We can, sit down with the students and say, hey, what's going on? Something bothering you? I'm here to listen. I'm here to help you. Again, I'm not your enemy.
Right. And basically, bullying is mostly seen in on hype in the middle school level, and I think we
Yeah,
have
it becomes worse. Yeah.
middle, yes. So I think when they are what I do basically in my class, I would like to tell you is I kind of identify the kids who are mismatched, and who sometimes when the kid comes, they tend to be friends with the kid who like them or who they like. And what I
Yeah.
do is in my math side, I would basically give them sheets of algebra, and then I would make them sit with the person who they don't like, and then make them solve the thing in.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes, because when they're solving math alone, it's so difficult for them. And when they okay, I give you a partner and you can basically discuss and then give the joint test for both of you. And you get on that level. And then they kind of share it and then they start talking, so if I see or if
they
I
understand
come
each other.
One thing I want to point out, you mentioned something about personal attention. You mentioned you try to work personally with the kids, and I kind of really like it. But I want to understand how you do it, when the class size is a little big, and how you get with every kid, and how you make sure that that is something I want to learn.
Yeah. So the school that I work right now is a private school. It's one-on-one. And we work with students who, for any reason, if they want to graduate early or they have a learning disability or they were, suspended from their previous school, we work with these students one-on-one. So I do have that advantage. My coworkers and I, the other teachers and I do have that advantage to talk. But as far as a big classroom, what I would do is just any opportunity that I would get, take them aside while the other students were working, or if they, right before, if they went to lunch, just any opportunity that I can, can I speak with you just for a couple minutes, or if everybody was reading, I just want to have a heart-to-heart with you. I would pull them to the side, take them to my desk, and just speak with them.
Amazing. That is kind of good. And I think now I would like to conclude this with I would just say listening to them is one of the very important skills which teachers should work on. And they should kind of find ways of how they can bring the communication to the far level with the kids and also among the kids. If they can just connect them and bridge things, then I think that is really something that is really important. And as educators, we can move in that direction and try to make the communication as better as we can. And
Yeah.
I hope this helps to minimize the problem of bullying. Right
Yeah.
now, okay, so now let's move on to the section where we are going to talk about you as an author. And
Oh, thank
I
you.
came to know that you've already written a book. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually have two of my books here with me right now. I write both children's books and
Oh, wow. Yes,
young adult.
please do.
Yeah, yeah. So this is I
Yes.
only have two of
Okay.
them. I
So,
have three, but I don't have any. I don't have my other book. I don't have any copies of it at the moment. So I was able to find two.
okay.
So this is my first one. It's called "What Will Baby Be?" And it's
Okay.
about yeah, in the Armenian culture, when a child has their first tooth, they
Mm-hmm.
perform a ceremony in which they lay out objects in front of the baby, and whatever object that they pick, that's what they will become hypothetically, when they're older. So when I was a
Okay.
baby, can you guess what object I pulled from a pile of the objects? Try to guess. What did I pull?
Give me options. Give me two, three options of objects.
um, well, okay, I'll just tell you. I picked a pencil. So when I was a year old, I picked a. So what did I become? I
I
became a
was about to
teacher, and
guess
I
a
became
pen,
a.
you know.
Yeah. So it's remarkably true for me.
So what brings out this writer in you? Like, what is the inspiration that made you like? Because I know so many people they want to be writers, and
hmm
like they have got good content in their mind, but they can never take it down, and they can never pen it down, or maybe they just write a
Yeah,
page and then they are like, I
they're
do this.
done.
So to
Yeah.
complete a book in itself is an achievement. So
Yeah.
please do
Thank
tell
you.
like.
Yeah. Writing for me is my way of de-stressing. Like I will obtain inspiration from my own life or inspiration for like I'll dream about it. And when I start typing it up or writing it, I don't stop until I'm done. I'll do occasionally get writer's block, and then I'll just highlight what happens here, what happens here. So I'll come back to it. But for me, it's like it just calms me down. It's my way of like escaping, and I'll have my coffee or I'll have my wine, and then that's it. Just no one bother me, and that's my method.
That's really amazing, Nella. Like what you are doing as a teacher, you are also an author. You have taught like all the grades from bottom to the top, and then you are helping people with,
Yeah,
I
thank you,
psychology. I mean, like that's really inspiring. Just
thank you.
before we go, and then I want to ask, like you mentioned this thing about your novel where you are talking about women empowerment, and
Yeah,
recently, I have heard that domestic violence has really increased during the coronavirus time, and I was really sad
yeah,
knowing that, like how like it is a time where people are coming closer, but it is also a time for
mhm.
some families where they are not having they are really having a bad time, and it's the time that they are
Yeah,
reevaluating their decisions. And I guess there
hmm
have been so many pictures in the UK. There were like so many pictures where the women are getting beaten up so badly that there is all
yeah,
blood around everything. I really
yeah.
want you
Unfortunately.
to speak a little bit on that topic.
Yeah, well, domestic violence is a huge issue anywhere. And yes, during the coronavirus, it increased because since everyone, all of us, we had to lock down with
Right.
our spouses, families, those individuals had to lock down, quarantine with their own abusers, unfortunately. And before the quarantine, they had their escape. Actually, an interesting thing about domestic violence is that a lot of women in particular choose to stay with their abusers because they have nowhere else to go. And a more they have traditional roles in which their spouse takes care of everything, and they have just the house to take care of, or the children, and they don't have the financial ability to escape. So with me, I used to volunteer, not at the moment, at a women's shelter in which it was very hidden. It was away from where you're expecting, and women would go and stay there until they were able to get the help that they need. So right now, unfortunately, there isn't much that we can do, but there are resources. I'll actually send you like what these individuals can do if they do need the help that that they can get. But I actually mentioned that in my novel about domestic violence and how, especially back then, the roles were so different back then. If a woman wanted to go to school to become a doctor or a lawyer, they were disencouraged. They were basically like, oh, become a nurse, become a secretary, which, those are great careers too. Nurses are amazing. But those women, yeah. But those women, they were like, no, 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 like, become this. And I talk a lot about that in my novel, about how women, they all we want, feminists, all we want is just equal treatment. There is no I'm better or you're better. We're all equal, regardless of anything, regardless of any feature.
All right, then. I think time is up. So, guys, if you have any questions, you can DM us directly, or you can DM Nella about her book. And book on her website right now, and when I will also put a link down the video when we put it in our book. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much, Nella. It was amazing.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. Have a good time, and we'll see you soon.